up? It's Joe Rady from Rady's Rides. We're back at the original filming spot location right in my very own backyard because guess what? We have an all-new vehicle from that luxury brand that really is turning the auto industry upside down and all around. This is it. This is a 2023 Genesis GV60, and this one is the performance trim. But before we get into this fully electrified, full luxury, smaller size crossover performance SUV, let's talk about what's going on here. We've already mentioned Genesis. It started off as a sedan, a premium sedan in the Hyundai lineup. Eventually in 2015, Hyundai did something that all those other brands, especially the Japanese brands, did in the late 1980s. Acura, obviously premium level of Honda. Infiniti, premium level of Nissan. Lexus, premium level of Toyota. Well, guess what? In 2015, Genesis was created based off that sedan, and slowly but surely, they've been lining up a bunch of hits within their whole portfolio. Now, new for 2023, we've already brought to you that electrified version of their big sedan, actually mid-size sedan, the G80 electrified. This GV60 only comes as an electric vehicle. So what I want to find out is, does Genesis have another hit, especially when it comes to SUVs, because they got their GV70, which has been selling like hotcakes, the GV80, which of course Tiger Woods was able to prove just how tough of a vehicle that was as he launched it off a mountainside. Now we're gonna find out, do they bring that true electric performance and luxury feel? Let's dive into this GV60 and find out. Right off the bat, the color. It's this optional pearlescent white, and it pops like a diamond in the Florida sun. Starting at the front of the business, you're gonna see that same design philosophy that's been sprinkled throughout Genesis and their lineup. So we got that split level LED headlight design. And what I'm digging is, when you have the hazards on, like we have right now, or the turn signals, you got your 6 LED cubes lighting up in there, just like you put your ice cubes in a nice tall glass of sun-brewed iced tea. When you shut those off, all of these become LED daytime running lamps. And of course, your LED headlights are all built in. So it's a super clean look, split level, looking good. Now, as we drop down, you do have some functionality on the corner air vents. And I like the way they did this nice, almost like an Australian boomerang shape to it. So put some shrimp on the Barbie, because you'll be able to have some actual functionality with air flowing through these corner air curtains. You'll notice that Genesis unique grille design. It's sort of like a diamond shape that goes all the way across, and a nice large splitter. And I'm glad that they just went with a flat silver rather than gloss black. I think that would have been a little too much. Now, as we come across that front grille, Genesis, I think, is the one brand that does large grills really well. And on this GV60, they were able to kind of bring it in without messing the aero up on it. So you'll see that grille shape, even in the gloss black around our forward-facing camera, and then the rest of the grille, just like any other SUV or sedan, nice and large, all functional, and it matches perfect with those corner air curtains. You can see how they extend out the front lip splitter. They put a nice divider in there just for some extra style, but everything comes to a point. That's Genesis attention to detail. Now, when we get up onto that hood, what's underneath it? We got dual motors in the performance trim, plus there's a little bit of a front-mounted trunk, but we have the Genesis badge. Love the way they did it. Look at how they actually sunk it into the hood to cut down on that drag, give us a perfect coefficient of airflow. And I know a lot of people say, hey, it looks like a Bentley. Hey, it looks like an Aston Martin. You know what? Imitation is the greatest form of flattery. Other than that, you just have your risers that go towards the A-pillars. Now, if you're saying to yourself, well, Joe, the dimensions of this look very similar to Kia's EV6 and Hyundai's Ioniq 5, you're 100% correct in that assumption. It sits on the same chassis as those two vehicles, and right now, those two vehicles are an electrified knockout on the showroom floor. Now, when we come around the bend, what are we working with? Wheel and tire setup. So what you're gonna see is very unique Genesis design on the wheel. I like the way they carry that over from their other models in their lineup. And if you're wondering, well, Joe, what's the size of this wheel? It's a 21-inch wheel, looking really good. I'm actually gonna swing around and kind of just let Steven have full reign over showing just the nice size, the nice design. Yeah, it might be a little complicated to clean, but you know what? It's all about the love of the vehicle, and you would definitely gonna love cleaning your very own GV60. 255 on the width, and then you'll notice we got a 40 series sidewall wrapped in those Michelin Primacy Tour tires, so you got a good tire, less rolling resistance. We got massive calipers, those Genesis branded calipers, looking really good, and you have regen braking and one pedal operation. So different levels of regen braking for that lithium ion battery pack, and we also, of course, have one pedal operation. You just use the throttle on and off, and you could come to a complete stop. I like the way they brought that flat silver around the wheel wells, something better than gloss black or flat black, and I think it actually gives the side of the vehicle some nice attention to detail without it being all color match. Now, coming down the side of the vehicle, you're gonna notice the size. This is basically a smaller, compact, electrified crossover. I feel like it's just a little bit smaller than a GV70. Might be right on par, but it seems just a tad smaller. I like along the bottom how you have the flat silver with just a little bit of gloss black, nothing too crazy. Of course, you're gonna have electric mirrors that turn in when you have it locked up right now like we do. They pivot in with that pearlescent white. You got your LED lighting, 360-degree cameras. So glad that they blacked out the A-pillar. One of the nice touches is the bright, shiny metalwork. Normally, I don't like this kind of stuff, but look at how you follow it all the way across and around. I think that gives it a nice, clean look. Maybe, I guess if I was to zonk it, let's just give it a half zonk. It would have been a little nicer black chrome finish. But something very unique in that U shape. You're gonna have a full glass roof, and we have these low roof rails that are also gloss black. Give it that sporty crossover look. Now, as we come towards the rear, I love the way with the flush mount door handles, you really can appreciate how the rear doors flare out. With this being a performance model, you actually have two electric motors to actually power this unit. Same thing with the bright, shiny metalwork, how that chrome finish comes back and then comes to a point. I'm glad they didn't follow it all the way around like a Mini Cooper. It's nice to just bring it right to a point. Obviously, you're gonna have your charge port door. The door's locked, so I can't show it to you right now, but we will show you how you charge your GV60. And then wrapping around the rear, that's where the style really comes into play. You still got your twin taillight setup like on your other Genesis models, but I love the way everything comes to a point. Very nice, sleek look. You have this rear hatch wing that's actually elevated above the glass. So you actually have room that comes underneath, looking great. That shark fin color matched antenna up top. I love the way they do the Genesis badging. GV60, and then working our way all the way down, more of that silver, a little bit of the gloss black, and then we have the LED reverse lights. Super clean. Can't wait to take this on throttle. Let's pop the hood and see what the heck is underneath it in our GV60. All right, guys, we got the hood open. Obviously, there's no engine underneath the hood because this is an electric vehicle, and I like the way that Genesis did the same thing, and it makes sense since it's on the same platform as Kia's EV6 and also, of course, Hyundai's Ioniq 5. We got a plastic cover. Now, what's interesting about this cover is that it looks like a cover you would see on a regular internal combustion engine vehicle. But underneath, we have a front-mounted electric motor, and out back, there's a rear-mounted electric motor. Those two motors are 160 kilowatt electric motors each, paired with a lithium-ion battery pack. 77.4 kilowatt per hour lithium-ion battery pack produces 419 horsepower. Now, underneath the lid, this is where it's smart engineering. We got usable space. So you have this front-mounted trunk. Obviously, here is your whole charge port accessory. This is 800 volt capable. And what's great is that you're getting some awesome MPGEs. 97 in the city, 82 on the highway. That gives us a 235-mile range. The vehicle weighs 4,862 pounds, but here's the performance. 0 to 60, 3.7 seconds. Quarter mile, 12.2 at 112 miles per hour. Top speed is governed to 151 miles per hour. Now, when it comes to charging the vehicle, your charge port door, unfortunately, is not up front like it is on the G80 electrified. It's back past the rear passenger side of the vehicle, right near the rear wheel on the passenger side. But charge time, 7.2 hours, 240 volts. I'm gonna open up the door. It's real nice, finger operated. So you hit there, there's your charge port door, and then when you're done charging, you close it up. Whoop, there you go. Nice, simple, clean. It's just, you're gonna have to maybe back your vehicle into a spot, but you're looking at 7.2 hours worth of charging if you're using 240 volts. Obviously gonna take longer if you're using your regular 120. But you know what? Like I said, very smart of Genesis to be thrown in with the other two brands on this platform, especially with that kind of power. But why don't we go ahead? It's not gonna make much sound, but let's see how this GV60 accelerates on throttle. Let's do it. All right, guys, we're inside this all-new electrified GV60. I know you're saying to yourself, well, Joe, I've been waiting for this one. And on top of that, I was about to drop money on a Tesla Model Y, but I talked myself out of it because I'm just sick of them. I'm sick of seeing them. They all look like jelly beans and marshmallows. I'm liking this GV60. It's got the luxury I really desire. How much is it? Now, there's two different trims. One that's single motor, rear wheel drive, or our dual motor, all wheel drive. That's what we have. This one, the way it's optioned with the special paint job, is right at an MSRP of $69,500. Let's see how it stacks up to the competition. To the door panels. I'm really digging that Genesis is taking the risks when it comes to interior colors. I love the leather material up top. That blue, we got Alcantara, and then we have some unique styling with the silver elements. Look at that speaker right by the handle for the door. You got the Bang & Olufsen multi-speaker system. I'm digging that silver finish all along the center of the armrest, and then on the actual armrest itself, you got that neon stitching, more blue, nice and soft, and the door pocket, it's a pretty decent size. I would say 4 Pop-Tarts and a bottle of chocolate milk to wash it down. Now, going from the door panel to the dash, there's more of that aluminum finish. This is what I'm talking about. We don't need gloss black all over the place. Stitching, look at the way they do the AC vents. Nice finishes, even on the glove box, and the glove box is unique in itself. You know, normally you open up a glove box and it drops down, maybe it hits you in the shins. This, it's a nice sliding drawer. So we have our official Stephen Flood Photography glasses and the keys to his Type R. I know everybody wants his Type R. You slide it closed, nicely set up. Now, when we get to the center stack, I hope you're ready for 12 inches because that's what I got to give you. 12.3 inches of visual pleasure, just like your other Genesis vehicles. Nice touchscreen capability. This one, though, has a lot of unique touches because it is an EV. Hit this little guy right here. There we are, showing us our range. Charging, you could schedule charging. Certain times you could also adjust your charging levels. Very nicely done. Love the graphics, but guess what? That's just the tip of the iceberg. Watch this. We go to 3D setup. Gran Turismo style, there's our GV60. You could spin around like if you're sitting at a light and you're bored and you're like, man, I forgot what the rear end of my GV60 looks like. Now you can look at it. Really, really cool to have those graphics. You stop at any given point, and now you could get into certain adjustments. Watch this. See inside? There we are inside the GV60, and you can make all your adjustments to the cluster, the head-up display, the whole shabam. What about other things that we got going on here? Of course, wireless Apple CarPlay, wireless Android Auto. We even got one more extra swipe to get into your connected services, quiet mode, the whole shabam. Reverse, look how clear that is. I could actually watch Rady's rides on this infotainment system. Trajectory 360. Look at that. There we are. There's Steven right there. You can see him. No, actually you can't, but that would have been cool if we could see Steven in the shot. I know everybody wants to know what he looks like, especially his fiance. But anyways, hit that into play, and then we're right back at home. Wabam, thank you, ma'am. Working your way down, we got our dual climate control, nice switch gear. TFT, that thin filament transistor display with the AC controls. We got our it says start stop, but it should say power on because this is an EV. And then we got our flat bottom floor. That's the nice thing about an electrified vehicle. Lithium ion battery pack is on the belly of this beast, gives us a flat floor, lots of room. You got a cubby here for 4 bags of Frito-Lay's chips. So you can put those chips in there. You got a USB-C's, 2 of them, and a 12 volt. Close it up. We got our floating center console. Really cool. 2 cup holders. We have our volume controls. Now what's really awesome is the technology. We actually have a fingerprint scan. So you see that circle there? You put your fingerprint into the system just like your iPhone. You could actually start and shut off the vehicle all from your fingerprint. This is going to be your direct drive control knob for the infotainment. And then this is your ability to go from park to drive to neutral reverse. Watch this. I'm going to actually turn it off for a second. Crystal ball. Tell me the winning numbers to this weekend's lotto. It actually glows LED inside of it. Love the graphics and the touches. Fire it back up. Look at that. That is just cool technology to make things different. We got 3 stages of ventilated seats, 3 stages of heated seats, heated steering wheel, so they got you covered there. Wireless charging, nice soft blue with the stitch work. Open it up. Guess what? You could put that blue ribbon that you won during field day back in elementary school. Remember you and your friend did the 3-legged race and you whooped up on everybody? You could keep that blue ribbon in there. And of course, your red ribbon for coming in second for the pie eating contest. So you can keep those ribbons in there. Seats, these are definitely blue ribbon quality. Leather, the stitch work, the Alcantara, the design. We do have chauffeur seats, which means I can move it. Look at this, we're moving the seat. Move it forward. So of course, full electric assist. You got the controls on the bottom. I love the piping. Let me know what you think about the neon, if it's too over the top. But I think it just adds a little bit of something to the interior of this electrified GV60. We got Alcantara, light Alcantara everywhere. And then guess what? We're not done. Split open glass roof. Look at that. And then you close it. It's almost like opening up your own layer, like your underground layer, and you're like, I want to see what the world looks like. And then the floor just opens up like you're Dr. Evil. But why don't you come over here to the business end? I want to show you the $1 million view behind the wheel of this GV60. Come on over. All right, guys, come on into the future because the future is now. Speaking of the future, do you see this little rectangle here? This has facial recognition. So if you don't have your key fob, you can literally use your mug to open up the inside of this vehicle. It scans your face. Technology, it's just getting crazy. Here's another thing. When it comes to design, to balance things out on the driver's door to the passenger door, instead of a speaker being here, this is actually the controls for your power side mirrors. You got 2 memory seat settings, and then check out the pedal box. I like the way they do it. You have a nice aluminum brake pedal, throttle, nice large dead pedal. I just wish that was aluminum as well. So we are going to zonk that. You do have a very simplified sill plate. That's another area where I wish this would light up like Genesis LED lighting, but check out our seat controls. All premium adjustability, including massage seat settings. So that's what it's all about. While you're cruising down the road, you can get your whole body massaged so that you feel fresh as a daisy. I'm 6 feet tall, and it's crazy just how much room is in this smaller compact crossover SUV. What about the steering wheel? I'm actually digging it. It's the blue leather, so a lot of blue, but I'm okay with it. It's a nice tint of blue, silver on the buttons, the Genesis badge. You got your drive modes. So you're just gonna sit here and hit the modes, which I'll show you that in a second. And then you got your boost button, which gives you extra power. Now you'll notice paddles on the back of the steering wheel. This is to adjust your different levels of regen braking, because this is a direct drive transmission setup. And you do have your power adjustments on your tilting and telescoping steering wheel. And then the dash, another 12.3 inches, super clear graphics. You go through the different modes and everything changes up nicely, including that sport mode. And then on top of that, we got our cameras. I love those blind spot cameras. Really makes life so much easier when you're driving. And there's a head-up display, so they got you covered there information-wise. But why don't we go ahead, let's get in the back seat and see if your passengers are gonna be squished with the sexy roofline of this GV60. All right, guys, passenger time. And this is what I'm talking about, the attention to detail. Look at the door handles for the passenger. You have your 3 stages of heated seats. No ventilated seats though, but they got a cool cup holder, so that gives them some bonus points. But it is a zonk not to have ventilated seats in the back at this price point. But I like the way they put the AC vents in the frame, better for adjustability and just getting the airflow on you. You do have some nice sized pockets. And here's my advice. Do some Jules Verne. Get yourself 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, Time Machine. Get those classics back here, because the future may be now, but you got to remember how to read and teach your kids how to read. Have them put down the phones and pick up a book. The more you know, the more you grow. And that's been brought to you by Rady's Rides. Back of the command center, you do have 2 USB-Cs. And what's interesting is they hollowed this whole center portion out with so much room that you actually could put 4 pineapples. And what's nice is you have a pineapple blocker. So what you do is you pull this up like that. There's your pineapple blocker, so your pineapples don't slide out. But literally there's room, I'm not exaggerating one bit, 4 average size, Hawaiian of course, none of that Californian pineapple or Florida pineapple, Hawaiian pineapples in there. And you got your pineapple blocker so it doesn't roll around and then poke you in the side of your shins or something, or your calves. I got my own pocket over here for a couple good books. And then lots of room, especially with like large trucks driving by. It's actually pretty quiet in here for the most part, but there's lots of room because you got a flat floor. So it makes life much more comfortable. Do the seats recline? Let's see. Oh yeah. You can see how much further back I am. Pull this bad boy down. Think about a soft rock. That's what that feels like. So take a rock, wrap it in leather, and that's what the armrest feels like. So it's a little on the hard side. Maybe if you break it in. I'll sit here for the next week doing this to break this one in. But you got 2 cup holders. Let's get to the cargo area, because I want to put up or shut up and go on throttle in this GV60. All right, guys, time to get into the back. Now, you can use hands-free. It does have that, but we're going to do it the old-fashioned way. You just hit the button under the E. E in Genesis stands for enter. Nice electric assist. What are you greeted to? This is what I love about the GV60, about the EV6, is you got plenty of room here. Now, the loading floor is not very low when it comes to the cargo floor, and that's because there's an electric motor underneath the rear of the vehicle. They do give you a cargo net, so if you need to put the groceries, my advice is definitely putting this over so that your cantaloupes and watermelons aren't rolling around all over the place. What's great is that you got a 12 volt on the passenger side and LED lighting. Look at the lens. It has the design, that Genesis triangular design in there, that diamond shape. Lift this up. We got storage underneath. You don't get a spare. You get this tire mobility kit. And of course, whenever you're bored, they give you the full edition, hard copy, the history of Genesis from day one, the start of the world. Put that back in there, nice and neat. Do the seats fold down? They do, but the big zonk is I gotta go around to the side of the vehicle and do that. There's no handles on the back. So I'm gonna come around and Steven's gonna show how this works. You got a handle and then you're just gonna pull it down. The nice thing is that they lock into place, but the zonk is I'm having to run around the vehicle like the car is on fire, trying to get these seats to successfully go down. That'll allow you to do your Costco run, no problem. And the great news is, I got a level it's almost totally flat. The pitch is off by about 0.26 degrees over Celsius, minus the latitude and longitude of where you're located. So definitely be able to get some nice large objects in there. But you know what? We got it charged. I got the key fob and I got the facial recognition. If you're ready, I'm ready. Let's go on throttle in our GV60. All right, guys, we're in this 2023 Genesis GV60, this being the performance trim. Right away, as soon as you roll out, I mean, they do such a great job with the sound deadening and the thickness of the glass, acoustic front glass. It's a challenge for the engineers because of it being so quiet with the electric motors. They don't have an internal combustion engine to kind of balance out the vibration, the sound. So Genesis has done a bang up job on keeping everything nice and quiet on the interior. Getting to everything is well within reach, and it's got all these unique finishes that kind of separate it from the rest of the pack. Now, I have it on level 3 regen braking. If I hit it one more time, then what happens is it goes to intelligent pedal. So that's that one pedal operation. You come to a complete stop with one pedal, and then you go back on throttle. Twin motors, all-wheel drive. For me, I like to keep it on level 3 or even level 2 just because it's extreme. The braking is that extreme for the regen, and obviously that regen is recharging the battery. Now, Genesis has done a great job to not make this feel like an Ioniq 5 or a Kia EV6. It feels unique, especially with all the touches and the way that everything is laid out in here. I'm gonna go ahead and hit that drive mode selector knob. We just went from comfort to sport. It's got adaptive suspension, and then of course it's really gonna have that nice brisk acceleration, instant torque that really gets you up and going on throttle. I mean, it really puts you back in your seat. I like the way the gauges change. And then of course that blind spot camera with your turn signal, really, really nice. I'm gonna go ahead and do the regen braking that you can adjust on the fly. I'm lowering it and lowering it. Now I actually shut it off, and then you just increase it once again. iPedal is on, so I have my foot off the brake and we're not rolling anywhere. Here we go on throttle, here we go. On throttle, hitting the boost button, wow! Oh my God. I'm telling you right now, when you hit that boost button, it really just, the acceleration is surprisingly very, very quick in this thing. And that lasts for a certain amount of time, and then you're right back to normal again. But even without the boost, it's freaking intense. That instant torque, if you've never driven an EV before, it takes a little getting used to. But everything else is just super smart in here. Yeah, I do need stickier tires. That's definitely one thing. I wish, this being a performance model, it had some Michelin Pilot Super Sports or Super Sport 4S's or something just a little stickier than the Primacy tires. Those tires are great for mileage, not so much stick and grip. But having it on, I think, level 2 is my favorite level so far. 3, like I said, is a little intense. But I'm telling you, man, this thing gets up and goes. You got your head-up display. We're gonna go boost again. Love the way it's got the button. You ready? On throttle, look at this. The gauge goes freaking crazy. Just allows you to have a little bit more fun with the whole setup, and it lasts about 20 seconds. It's interesting because it's very close to the time, actually the exact time pretty much, as the N-Grin shift mode in the Elantra M. But here we go, round and around and around. On throttle, wow, a little chirping of the tires. Boost. You get a nice little hum from the electric motors. But the brakes work great. You got those nice large calipers up front. Brakes work well. It's just the primacy tires, like I said. Great for going down the highway, just not gonna get you through the twisties without any kind of slip. You're gonna get a little bit of slippage, actually a lot of slippage when you go on throttle, but nice planted. The seats are comfortable, heated and ventilated seats, and massage seats, which are great. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn that on, and I'm gonna go for the lumbar stretch. That feels good right there. Visibility is great, even out the back. Don't let that hatch spoiler think that it's gonna get in your way, because it will not get in your way, I promise. And then just everything else just feels high quality in here. Go ahead and put it into eco mode. You definitely feel a difference with the throttle, with the acceleration, and then we're just gonna go into comfort, because I think most people are gonna drive it this exact way. But going down the highway, very, very smooth. And with the one pedal operation, when you have it on, it works like a champ when you're in a high traffic situation. But hopefully this has been a nice overall review of what this Genesis GV60 is bringing to the electrified table. We're gonna get back and wrap this one up, so I will see you in a minute. Guys, it's been one heck of a day with this electrifying experience in this GV60. I definitely want to thank Jared and everybody over at Genesis USA for allowing us access to this all new, first time ever Genesis GV60. Let me know what you think. Do you think this is the perfect recipe for luxury and performance in a new, smaller sport crossover SUV? Is there a different one that you like? Put it in that comment section, or are you just gonna go with a Tesla Model Y and call it a day? Put your response in that comment section, but if you're new to the channel and you're on your way out, hit that subscribe button. I promise you it's worthwhile. Come back for more. If you are a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Radies Rides family. We need to give it up to Stephen Flood and Stephen Flood Photography, sweating it out here with me. He drank his full canister of Tang because he is ready to launch into outer space, just like the astronauts. Thank you, Stephen, for all that you do. Check him out on Instagram, Stephen Flood Photography. And just like always, guys, I'll see you on the next ride.